everyone.
Hello. Hello.
And welcome. I'm Darnell.
And I'm Angela.
Welcome to Garrison House.
Hey, how are you guys doing on this evening? We are so excited to be with you today.
Yep.
Woo!
Yippers.
Another week. Wow. Seems like it was just yesterday we had the Garrison House.
Pentecost Sunday.
Yes. Hallelujah.
Yes, we're here on Pentecost
Sunday.
You
yes.
know, it's a really interesting. We usually have service on Sabbath, and so we had service today.
Yes.
And it was going to service on Sunday is kind of weird after years of shifting from Sunday to Saturday. It's kind of weird. However, we do Sunday services, I think, twice a year. So it was nice. It was a nice service.
Sorry, I had to turn up my mic.
Yeah, turn earpiece.
Earpiece.
So yeah, we had a really good time.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of weary when I went there. I was a little tired, but however, when that spirit hit at the end, I was like,
all the way home in the car and trying to talk to her. She was singing. I was like, okay, well, I'll just sit here.
I know. Sometimes it takes me a minute to go down.
Yeah, so we are very happy today. It's been a great week. This week seems to have went by quick. Not as fast as last week. It was pretty fast, but it was a really blessed week.
Yeah. And the last, let's see, I forgot about the 2 weeks ago when you had my birthday.
Yes.
Was a couple of weeks ago. And so I was glad. There I am. This is from last year. But however, I celebrated a birthday in May. And so I'm so excited. And to see another year, thank you, God. Thank you, God. It's none but the glory of God. And I appreciate everything.
We're double grace.
Yeah.
Double grace age. And
and next week, this young man here will be celebrating his. And so so hopefully because we'll have another podcast next week, just come and join us on his birthday for next week.
Which will be the day after my birthday. So
right.
It's I think about those who are no longer people I grew up with, people I went to school with. I'm like, wow, that person's not around. And I was at the hardware store because I'm working on a little project. Seems like I've been working on these two projects. They're supposed to be done one's supposed to be done last year. And I was at the hardware store, and this man that was there, he was 60. He was just talking. We were talking like, wow, where's time gone? And then they're playing songs on the radio like, yeah, that song's not an oldie. That song just came out. Oh, wait a minute. That was 40 years ago.
Right.
And, you're hearing music. It's like, no way, that was 40
that early
years
2000? Or, I mean, just think now we're in the second decade of 2000.
Second quarter of the century.
Wow.
Yeah. We finished the first quarter. We're now officially, this is to be the end of the first quarter of this century.
Yeah.
That is, I mean, I don't know. It was just interesting. But anyway,
yes.
Couple house cleaning things we need to do. Not house clean. Announcements we need to make. One, we want you to subscribe to us on our platforms and make sure you know what's going on. We will share the link of the video because sometimes we post these videos on our other platform. Then we want you to go ahead and visit our website, and we want you to leave a tip. Our tip jar is open. It's open 24/7. Go ahead and do that. We are on GarisonHousePodcast.com. You come on over there.
That's long. Huh?
They can always go to Facebook and go GH Podcast or Cloud Live GH Podcast and
click on the link.
Yep. And I'm looking. I'm talking to someone today, so we may add another site soon. So as soon as they send me the information, it's a podcast dedicated. But then. Also, we want you to come on over and too bad it's kind of shrunk. Let's come back. I was trying to bring it in, but we'll just go ahead and just do it like it is. So we are doing BTV, in Kashmir. We're really starting to promote that. Those are our channels. BTV is Family of Faith. Kashmir is where our official home is at. It's a little different channel, but we want you to come on over there, visit us at on Kashmir. You can watch us free on Roku, 24/7. Cashmere is looking for, it has slots available, but we will talk about that later. We have somebody
if
that's
you
really,
have content. If you have a content that you'd like to be on our platform, just reach out to us and
just drop us an email.
Drop us an email and let's see what you got.
Yeah, because we have somebody that's really pushing us to really get that moving forward. Next thing we want to talk about is something that let me get my little read. We're going to talk about my basically where I'm at. We have the wrong graphic.
WNIF.
I don't know where that came from. I'll fix that graphic. Y'all won't see that again. You didn't see that.
Oh my gosh.
So I don't know. My finger did.
What the heck?
I'm glad we saw it now instead of later. So anyway, we're going to talk about being fit is more than what we see on the outside. And AM Total Being Fitness proves that, because I've lost over 50-something pounds since September 2024. They use medical grade testing and patent pending process to measure your real progress. DEXA scans, VO2 max, they put this thing around your nose and you breathe and you ride or walk, and they're reading all your oxygen intake. And everything is not guesswork, it's backed by science. And, it's not about losing weight. It's about total wellness, physical, emotional, and even spiritual. Yes, we do go into kind of spiritual conversations there. I've gotten healthier. I feel much better. I'm seeing the results of it. It's just not a scale. So we want you to join me on this journey. Scan the QR code or visit AM as in Mary, T as in Tom, B as in boy, fit.com and mention Garrison House Podcast for special offers. And the music is brought to you by for special offers. We don't know where that came from. But anyway, that's my spiel, our sponsor. And let me, while she can tell a little bit how I've changed, while I fixed this graphic.
Yeah. Some people, it is a hard journey when it comes about weight loss, because we are kind of in our own slump, right? Or in our own thing, and we have the zeal in the beginning, but then we fall short. I've been there. I'm trying to get out of there, and sometimes some things that is worth having or worth doing or worth achieving is going to take time, and sometimes it is going to be boring. So I think we have to get out of that slump of being bored. I'll go to the gym, and no more than maybe not. I haven't even gotten there 5 minutes. And I'm on the treadmill and I'm already like, I don't want to be here. Why am I here? Why am I doing this treadmill? It's like you feel like going in circles. I haven't even started yet. And I was, I'm trying to get at least 30 minutes in. But sometimes you have to what's worth it at the end is great results. So sometimes you have to just try to achieve it. So I always, every week I try to make my promise. I say, you know what, I'm going to go better. I'm going to do better. It never happens.
Right. Yeah.
But at least I'm still trying. I'm still out there. I'll move around a lot more. I'll go around a lot more. I'm trying to get rid of these I'm trying to get rid of another 10 pounds in the next month. And it has been a long journey for those 10 pounds just for a month, 4 weeks. And it shouldn't be like that. But again, that's because I have not done my part, because I feel like, I don't want to do this. It's boring. I don't want sometimes what's worth it takes time. And so his journey, women's journey is a little bit different than men's journey, but his journey was actually pretty good. You can see the results on him. You can tell he has some issues with his knees, his back. He has so much issues, but just 20 pounds. People are saying, man, I lost 20 pounds. My knees are better. Just enough pounds will actually make you feel better and keep going, pressing forward. And sometimes journeys is going to cost. So you can't sit there and try to say, I'm going to sit there and work out for Planet Fitness for $10, or how much Planet Fitness is a month. I'm going to do that. But sometimes you have to also eat better. You have to condition your body to understand that this is something you have to do. So yes, his journey has been a great journey. He has not had he had minor aches, but however, it's as serious as it was. His feet, no more knee pains. He haven't heard about knee pains lately, and no more back pain. It comes and goes, but however, it wasn't something that he's enduring for a very long time.
And my feet swelling. My feet used to be swollen. I was going to the doctor. He's like, well, now one of the things the doctor was like, I need you to get down to 300 and something pounds. And I said, well, I'm starting this program. You know, doctor's like, yeah, okay, man, you've been saying for years you're going to lose this weight. Went to the doctor, he saw some weight come off, said, oh, okay, you still in the program? Yes. Go my next visit, I'm down, baby. I think by that time I'm down 30 pounds, 40. He's like, are you still in the program? Yes. And now to the point, last time I weighed myself, I was 13 pounds away from where he wanted me to be. So he's like in shock. Another thing about the program, I'm gonna tell you this. You can actually go there and get yourself, find out where you're at. And if you don't want to do their training, they will walk you through the process of getting yourself trained. So if you want to go to another place, your favorite fitness center, they even do telehealth. So you're not even restricted to going to them. You can go to them through tele, and they will work with you and get you lined up. In fact, they haven't even started my nutrition plan yet because I've been doing so well, because I was in such bad shape till they said you had 1 foot out. And I was like, that was kind of scary. And I mean, there's times I still walk with a cane, but not as much. So I got moving again. I make sure I get out. You know, there's some weeks I just don't feel like getting up in the morning, going out, moving around, and doing things. I may go out and just while I'm working and just get out. And I do that. But it's great. I love the program, and I think you will too. So here's that QR code again. That's AM Total Being. And you want to get on over there, scan that QR code, and they will get you started. And
Tell them you heard it from Garrison House.
Garrison House, and support our sponsors. We're going to add more sponsors I'm believing for more sponsors in the future so we can do what we need to do. So now that I fixed the spelling, let's move on over to
Know your benefits. That was really off.
I don't know what that was.
Yeah. Last week we talked about PBMs and how PBMs worked. They are the go between the insurance companies and the pharmacies and the manufacturer. Mm-hmm. And PBMs, there's this pharmacy benefit manager. They manage pharmacy benefits only, not medical. They just manage your pharmacy benefits, so billing and for the insurance company. Okay, you hear a lot going on with CVS Pharmacy, not CVS Caremark. Now CVS Caremark is a PBM, and they are a pharmacy but they're saying that it's a monopoly. A lot of CVS in our area has been shutting down, so I don't know who's monopolizing anything, but they're gonna keep that PBM going. They're not gonna shut down. They're not gonna close down their PBMs, and I think Arkansas put it now where a PBM cannot own a pharmacy.
That won't stand up.
So yeah, that's kind of interesting. But however, that's kind of how it is. But knowing your benefits, what is your benefits? And I do training, and so one of the things is I always say there's a formulary list. Okay, there's a list of drugs that you can get. And then or it could be on your formulary list. However, it may need a prior authorization to get it. That does not change. So let's say that we have like these GLPs, these weight loss medications. It may be on the formulary list. However, it may still need a prior authorization just so that way you know that you qualify to get the drug. So that's how a formulary list is. Know your formularies. Figure out what is on your list. I have an app. Every plan has an app. I have an app on my phone, and on my phone is, and I look, and my doctor says she wanted me to try me on something else. Oh, okay, hold on, let me double check for you. She's like, oh, you gonna check your phone? Yeah, I'm gonna check my phone because, hey, if it's not gonna be part of my formulary, I don't want it. It's like, I get it. I said, if it needs a prior authorization, fine. But if it's not, look, you can, all these lists of medications, I'm quite sure you can pick one of them that's here. Some also, what happens is the newer drugs that are out there, doctors will, of course, we have the rep comes in and the doctor would give you samples. Okay, some insurance companies don't allow samples, or the samples they gave you would probably need a prior authorization. And so if you're on these samples all this time, so doctors like, okay, I can't get no more samples. Now I'm gonna move you into the prior authorization. So you may not be able to, you may not get it because if you do not qualify per the prior authorization to get approved for it, you may not be able to get it. But still, that's the reason why you have to know your benefits.
Right.
Understand, make a phone call. If you have to phone call, make a phone call to your insurance companies and say, hey, I want to, my shirt. Sorry guys, my shirt looks kind of big on me. I say, hey, I want to see if does weight loss medications. And my insurance company covers weight loss medications. When you look at these weight loss programs such as Weight Watchers, Mochi, Hers, now they have to go through they do want to try to go through your insurance. Just FYI. But if your insurance does not pay for it, they may have to get you on a different program or something, but I don't know how it works. But just let you know, FYI, you may have to go through, they still try to at least get your insurance to pay for it, okay? But again, those are some of the things. Drugs like the Mounjaro and the Ozempic that you've been hearing a lot of these celebrities do, they are only indicated for type 2 diabetes. Okay, so if you do have type 2 diabetes, then you are not guaranteed, but you can get Ozempic. Don't say that girl on that show say I was guaranteed. No, your doctor may still have to do a prior authorization. However, if you have type 2 diabetes documented with a diagnosis code, it's possible that you can get it. So that's Ozempic and Mounjaro. So even Ozempic is the same thing as Wegovy. Wegovy is indicated for weight loss and something, other things too. Now they got it now where they do for if you have sleep apnea. Oh, honey. They got it now for you have sleep apnea. You can do it for cardiovascular disease. So, but if some insurances, if it's just for weight loss, you may not be able to get it. But however, you never know. Call your insurance company, look on your app, see if weight loss medication is a covered benefit.
Yeah, I mean, another thing, in my weight loss, I don't think I have as much sleep apnea, do I?
It depends.
I think it depends on how tired
I think it's the humidity now because it's higher stuffiness. Sometimes we kind of do it. I went to my doctor's like I was telling her that I was falling asleep during the day. I was tired during the day. And she's like, oh, okay, you might have sleep apnea. So I went to a respiratory therapist, not respiratory therapist, but a pulmonologist. And so it's two process, okay? And each process is my insurance will charge a deductible for both processes. Now if you meet your deductible for that year, of course you didn't have to do the deductible the second. So what happened was I met the deductible for the first process where I took a machine home to strap me in. Well, not strapping. It was just like a little box, and I had to hook up myself. And if I got to do it myself, yeah, I had to hook it up myself. And it measures the amount of sleep, my REM sleep, and all that. How much sleep I actually did get. So it measures that. Then I took it back to the pulmonologist. They read it, and then they said, "Oh yes, you have sleep apnea," and they go through the quiz and all that with you. But what happened was the end of the year. I did this. And so Christmas, of course, Christmas and into the new year, then they were, was closed and they weren't going to do it. So that's when they started. So when the following new year came along, that's when insurances started to reset. So they were talking about paying. So they were like, well, it's going to cost, you have a $500 deductible, plus you have to pay 20% or something. So whatever came up to be, the doctor wanted $800 up front. I said, you know what? I'll just snore. I'm all right. I'll just leave it at that because I'm not going to sit there. And what I probably could have done though, just let you know this, you probably would have been able to call your insurance company and see if they can bridge the service. Since the service started in December, it's possible that they allowed a bridge. So I didn't think about that until later, but however, that's something you may think about. So that way you wouldn't have to pay that extra deductible because it actually is part of the same service. We just got hit with the holidays.
Yeah, one thing I have is this inexpensive smartwatch.
Yeah.
It tracks my heart rate. In fact, it's tracking it now. Blood pressure, blood oxygen, and about once or twice a week, I wear it to sleep just to see to get the report of my sleep, how well I slept that night. There's some nights where I wore this watch and say you didn't get enough. Your deep sleep was not long enough, and it does track that, and so it'll tell you what your oxygen and everything was when you're asleep. And my oxygen levels are pretty good, but like she said, some insurance companies aren't going to cover it. So just get a smartwatch and use that. I would say
companies will cover it. It's just that depending on what type of insurance. Right, what depending on how much insurance.
Your deductible may be high if you do it at the end of the year. Sleep studies are good. However, in the process, I think you should just, on the sleep study side, get a smartwatch and monitor yourself that way too.
What it is that we don't do enough deep breathing.
I learned that.
We do shadow breathing. So we don't do enough deep breathing. So that's one of the things we have to train our bodies to do. I had to do a procedure, outpatient procedure, and I was shadow breathing. And everyone was like, Angela, you need to deep breathe. I'm like, oh, okay.
That is what they're teaching me at the gym.
Yeah.
When they do that VO2, that's exactly what they're looking at.
Yeah, because you have to you're not doing enough deep breathing. There's a thing they're saying, well, how much oxygen how long can you hold your breath before you, but that's one of those things you got to realize, that's one of the things that we have to do. And when you're asleep, you're not realizing what you're doing when you're sleeping.
No.
You're just kind of just going with the flow. But however, that's one of the things we don't do enough deep breathing.
Yeah. And I know we're doing Know Your Benefits, but also on the deep breathing, on training, I've learned one of the things in training I learned was that your breathing actually affects your weight loss.
Yeah.
So if you're not doing enough, so when I first started training, I would just come home and I would just do that quite a bit. And so I still do it when I get up in the middle of the night. I'll just deep breathe, and because deep breathing is very important to your weight loss. And also, in the benefits now I'm gonna start asking questions. Some people may be wondering, well, does insurance cover my training? I'll let her answer that.
No.
See?
However, some insurances do have a rider where it's through your medical. And they may, I don't know, it may be through your medical. I gotta double check that. But usually through your medical, there are some programs, even your company. Now, your company may have they call them not benefit package, but like a reimbursement benefits, some type of benefit for things because whatever. So you may be able to qualify, but it only applies to those services. Like they'll give you LA Fitness for 20% off. They'll give you workout gyms for 10% off, or this particular thing. So that's one of the things that they do. Some do chiropractic care, that's through medical. But again, privately like that, his program, unless they just said specifically where they say trainers and weight management programs, 10% off through the board, then it's possible that you may be able to get it. But other than that, you have to look at your medical, either your medical benefits, or you have to look at your company's thing, because if you are a person that sits down a lot, and like you're an office worker, right? If you're an office worker, they do have programs where you can have chiropractic care. They do offer programs for gyms and things like that. Usually, now I can't say, oh, that girl. No, most companies do have it. Right.
Go to check your benefits.
You have to go to your everybody has an company internet, and go to your resources and see that you can find it there.
Yeah, one of the things I'm gonna show real quick, since we're talking about sleep. Yeah, there's mine. That was on earlier in May. That was the last time I did my own sleep check, and it said I slept 9 hours and 1 minute. My deep sleep was 3 hours and 15 minutes. My light sleep was 5 hours and 20. And usually that's pretty average, and I usually get up. That's the kind of sleep that I'm actually pretty energetic the next day. So I usually, if I'm feeling sluggish, for a couple of weeks, I'll just say, hey, let me put my watch on and sleep with it on, just to see what's going on. Because sometimes if we're so busy, I may not be getting enough sleep. And it's telling me, it tells you what time you went to bed, and it will actually tell you to go to bed earlier, or better yet, do certain things to wind down. The worst thing you can do to wind down is turn on your TV or your
phone.
But
we all do it.
I mean, I turn on mine.
I wake up, I roll over, grab my phone so I can get drowsy again, and then roll back over and go to sleep. And then my mind be racing because I be reading stuff on the internet.
Yeah, that's the reason why I see her. I get up and I see her on like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna tap. What time? I tap my phone. Oh, is only 12?
I always wake up at the same time. Interesting.
It's like you go to bed. We go to bed. Seasoned people time, and we wake up. I tap my phone. I'm like, man, I'm refreshed. What time is it? Midnight. I mean, I only been asleep for 2 hours. Or I've been asleep for 3 hours. It's summer now, so it's harder to go do seasoned citizen sleep time because it's still daylight. But still, even that, it's like, wow, it's only 12 midnight.
I told my daughter called me yesterday. She's like, I'm about ready to go to bed. She's like, it's only 8. It's not even 8 o'clock yet. I'm like, I know, leave me alone. But then I'm up by before midnight. I'm already up. It's just a long nap. It was like just a long nap.
Yeah, because when you live a busy lifestyle, you can't take a nap. I remember back, whenever I'm on vacation mode, I can take a nap in the beginning, sometime in the middle of the day, go to bed normal, wake up, I'm feeling really good. I sleep well. So yeah, we're just in that situation where we're hustling, we're moving. We don't really get to rest. There's when we get our lunch breaks or we take a lunch break, in her case, it's a half hour. You really can't take a nap in a half hour. I've taken a 1 hour lunch nap and I've slept the next day. I was refreshed and I slept well. So yeah, there's times that but now we become coffee people. And so we'll drink some coffee and then you don't want to drink it too late. I've had situations where I'll drink some caffeine coffee at around 7 and I'm up, it kicks in at around 10 and I'm awake all night long.
Yeah. But benefits, I mean, nobody look, I understand they're trying to say, why should a drug cost $10,000? Life-saving drugs. There's no such thing as life-saving drugs that you have to, if you need a life-saving drug that's medical, but there's no drug but what medications does, it doesn't cure, it just helps prolong your life a little bit longer until God, right, the Holy Ghost, the Spirit of the Lord hits us with powerful healing, So some things are genetic, some things you just can't avoid. But however, with medications, you can live a healthy and longer life. Even if you think about it, people who are talking about diet and exercise, you still have cholesterol because it's hereditary. High blood pressure, you may live a nice and healthy life, but it's hereditary. Some things is like this, and some things we just do because we ate wrong. But however, there are things like that, and it just helps live a longer life. Just as long as you maintain a healthy lifestyle, you can live a long life along with medication until God can continue to heal you from whatever illness that is was on you. And so that's kind of and they were saying nobody is paying $10,000 a month for medications. Now, right. Obamacare is out, so everybody should have some form of insurance. And then you have the state now, way it works, there's Medicare, which is federal, okay? Then there's Medicaid, which is government, your local government, okay? However, they are both governed by one party, which is what you call, consumers, CMS, Consumers of Medicare and Medicaid Services. So they're still governed by that. So Medicaid plans, there's several, every state has a Medicaid plan.
Yep.
But however, every state still follows the same formulary list when it comes to medications, because you don't want one state is offering its medications, but this other state isn't offering, so I'm gonna run to this state to do it. So they still have to follow a formulary list. Medicare, since it's federal too, they still have to follow a formulary list. So that's kind of how it is. So way I heard people were saying was, people were cutting their pills, dosing down on their pills because they don't have enough money. That is Medicare. That's what it is. What it is, because it's a donut hole. You have to fix that. That's the reason why Biden was trying to lower drug pricing. That's the reason why Trump is trying to lower drug pricing,
Right.
especially when it comes to insulin. But that's federal. You can handle that. You can handle lower drug
Yeah,
prices for
'cause-
that. But when you're talking about other medications, you can't.
Yeah, because I'm here following, I'm going on these, I'm on X, and I'm looking at people making conversations about PBMs. And it's amazing how much disinformation from both sides is out there.
Right.
They don't understand. I'm like,
They
well,
thinking
it's just like people are saying, one person says a possibility that PBMs have a market makers in the stock market, naked shorting stocks or pharmacies. And this is the pharmacies to get rid of competitions. And it says counterfeit shorting ramping up. It's like, and then other person's saying, and then you got attorney generals. Oh, we need to do. It's like, do y'all know what y'all literally are the ones who help make, y'all the ones who essentially created the PBM. It's just you're mad because there's 3 companies who start buying up the smaller ones, but you're making it like, well, 80% of all things are da. Well, so you're trying to say there's no competition because 3 companies who compete with each other control 80%. So what's next? The auto companies have a monopoly. I mean, you want to talk about breaking up monopolies? Here in Michigan, we have one energy company that controls our electric and our gas. Right. So you're talking about monopolies. Okay, well, there's companies that are monopolies. Let's take a look at Disney. They control maybe a great portion. Disney, Comcast, and another group, Discovery, controls about, I would say, 60 to 70% of everything you watch on TV. And you want to talk about a PBM when we want to break these monopolies up. But remember, are old enough. Remember that we had the same debate with AT&T. Mm-hmm. We need to break up AT&T. So AT&T broke up into smaller Baby Bells, which technically I believe they secretly had ownership in the Baby Bells. We had Ameritech, and then later it became SBC, and they started merging again. And then AT&T reemerged as AT&T. So why? Because there's no way to break these up.
The thing is, though, PBMs, they negotiate drug pricing. Right. They don't set the drug prices. No. They negotiate drug pricing. And yes, there's a fee. Everything's a fee. Why do you think title company? Do we really need a title company?
No,
but they get their money too. That's where the breakup is. You think it costs $300,000 for a home? Do you think these homes out here cost $10 million? No.
Oh, no.
So it is what it is. And we know that one person bought the patent.
He was wrong.
for a low price. It was a lower price for an HIV drug. He bought the patent and boosted price by what, 1,000%. So if you own a patent, you can charge what you want to charge. It's just that then you got the FDA, you got to go to the FDA, you got to pay their FDA fee, you got to pay distribution fees, you got to pay anything.
Research fee,
right.
Fee,
and yeah, it's not all about R&D. And yeah, it is expensive, like these weight loss medications. You talking about $1,200-$1,300 a pop. Well, why other countries are costing less? Why are their insulin vials? Insulin is $88 as opposed to ours is $150.
Cost of labor is different. It all boils down to the cost of labor and distribution.
Right, and a population.
Right, because you figure a lot of the stuff that we get here, such as hormone replacement therapy, if I'm not mistaken, a lot of that is made overseas.
I don't know where those things are made.
I saw a video where it says some of these pills that people use, a lot of women and some
Ozempic is actually made in, I want to say Poland or Ireland, one of those two.
And that guess what's involved in that? There's a transportation cost to get it from.
Right.
If it's not made here, see, that's the other problem. If the products aren't made here, you have to ship them in. So the cost to get them here, people say, well, what about this, and this? It made that, yes. And that's why they say, well, why is it cheaper there? Because they just take it and put it on the truck or if you're on the other side of the country, they put it on a lorry and they drive it to the other parts within Europe, or they put it on a ferry. If it's in another country, the ferry connects it to Europe. So there's not a massive cost to ship. And then you figure, so one item to get here, you got to load up a huge airplane, ship it here. Then they have to pay for the cost of that shipping. It's called pass it down. Mm-hmm. So people don't understand it. It's just like we were talking about this. Fees, you think, people, we had to get some stuff done on our car. And to swipe the card, they charge you a 3% fee. And they don't cap the fee.
No.
So it could have been $1,000 at 3%. They made some money off.
Right. And that's the thing.
And they're recovering their fees. So they said we charge a 3%. And I have a merchant thing, so I know what the real fee is. They're making a little profit off of it. Because I know I think mine is 1.79%. But most people just round it up to 3%. And because it's just a little extra money on the end. So yeah, there's a cost. So when they complain about PBMs, that means you don't know where the stuff comes from. The cost isn't, if we go back to making it here, the cost will go down because it's manufactured here.
Most times,
shipped in.
Right. Most times it was developed here. Then they do ship it. Some of China does have it. I'm trying to find this. Nova Link. So it's Nova. But it's not telling me. I think it's I can't say where is it from.
Well, I can say this, and if y'all want to know how bad it is, that medication's not made here. Just think about when COVID was here and everything shut down.
And everything was on back order. You couldn't get anything, even your ADHD medications. And the thing with that is some countries don't even allow those type of stimulants. And but yet they're manufacturing it for you. So you can be, so we can have it on our drug list. So yeah, that's one of those things where it's Nova. We always, I think it's, don't quote me, but it's not made stuff. I'm certain. But the thing with that is too.
It's Danish.
Danish, okay.
It's in Denmark.
So the thing with that is they hold a patent on, I think something they hold the patent on, but they didn't hold the patent on semaglutide, which is the ingredient. So that's the reason why you have a lot of the generics already out there. That's one of the same. If you heard, same as the strength. Drug strength for Ozempic, but it's not Ozempic because that's some of the things that you can be able to do. So that's the reason why you have a lot of compounding pharmacies. You may be able to get a compounding pharmacy, but anyway. So yeah, that's kind of it. Unfortunately, and then Eli Lilly, they're.
I don't know. Are they here?
They're in the United States. Yeah, Eli Lilly is in the United States. Yeah. Then they're also there are generic manufacturers.
Yep.
So that's another thing.
Yeah. So we had a lot of
who just does generics only.
We've had a lot of things that people are complaining about in the PBMs. Again, the noise is bad. A lot of disinformation, misinformation, malinformation. It's just poor information because they know that if we can create a hot topic, we can break up these PBMs. So my thing is, you're gonna break up the PBMs. Therefore, you're going to probably drive the cost of prescriptions up higher because now there's no one managing the rates. So now a pharmacy can say, well, so now you're also going to drug people more because there's no one managing the information. So basically insurance companies say, well, we're just going to cut pharmacy benefits. They may say, well, if we can't control what people are getting, we're just not going to have prescription coverage. So that means somewhere in somebody's ideology and plan, I'm just tinfoil hatting. The government's like, we need to get rid of PBMs. Then the insurance companies are going to drop prescription coverage. Then the government's going to step in, well, we'll cover it. And then they're going to do what they're going to do. Oh, we need to establish a PBM to manage these.
Somebody got to manage.
So they're going to come back. The PBM is going to come back but instead of it being corporations, it's going to be a federal PBM system. That's where they're trying
Well,
to go.
there were times where health systems were doing it themselves because of course there are people, and so they were trying to do it so then, but yet they decided to go with PBMs, and they do that. A lot of mom and pop pharmacies, yeah, there's a fee. Everything's going to be a fee nowadays. Even as you're saying with the merchants now, if you want to accept credit cards, and you're just going to have to tack on a 3% fee if they're going to use them, if they're using a credit card. That's how companies are. That's how any merchants are doing now. So the reimbursement rate on some insurances, that's where some pharmacies won't even take it because they're not getting enough back on reimbursement on those type of
that's
services.
another problem. People say, "Oh, it's killing mom and pop pharmacies." What's killing mom and pop pharmacy? Now, my cousin's sister-in-law used to own a pharmacy near here. What she was doing well, however, COVID came and she pretty much went down. But the issue is that mom and pop pharmacies don't have a lot of things to draw people in.
Right.
So mom and pop pharmacies have to compete. So you're talking about the PBM must have cost. Well, you got Amazon now has a pharmacy. So now the major pharmacies are now competing with Amazon pharmacy. They're competing with mail order pharmacies. So there's so much competition now. That's why you see CVS stores, Walgreens, Rite Aids shutting down en masse. So, while Congress is talking about, well, mom and pop pharmacies are closing, so are the major ones. Mm-hmm. They're all closing because some of your benefits require you to do, if I'm not mistaken, some of them are mail order only. So for a lower price, they say, well, do mail order. So yeah,
that's right
what's
there.
killing.
That's what happened when I was working in pharmacy about 10, 15 years ago, right before I believe Obama took over, somebody took over. And they're starting to, because of all this was going on, they were starting to make people go through mail order, and all these mom and pop pharmacies who was actively involved in getting a lot of clients. They had a lot of prescriptions. They were advertising. Mm-hmm. They were so excited. But what happened after that? Because now we had mail order came in. Mm-hmm. So now mail order took away all that business. So now they had to really they had to really try to get that clientele back. We had, when I used to work with one pharmacy, they got mad at a certain UAW worker. And so we couldn't take their insurance. Walgreens was the only one who couldn't take it. So that's what happened. But again, and then when they're telling them that you have to go through mail order now because it's cheaper or is for better cost savings for you, but that does affect your mom and pops now.
Right, because mom and pop pharmacies, like I said, my family member had an in-law who owned one, and she was actually really nice. She took care of our family. She used to do the delivery, do all that, but it just got to the point where I had visited her, and I can tell she was just like, look, I'm done. And I need to find out what happened to her. But I know a lot of mom and pop pharmacies, just basically the pharmacists said it was just too much. And then state laws started coming in. They started clamping down on pharmacists. Pharmacists getting prosecuted. Pharmacists have to carry insurance, and then all this stuff started coming down. Even technicians
now, they had to be licensed. It used to be all you did. You didn't even have to be certified to be a pharmacy technician.
Yeah.
Then they were like, okay, now you have to be licensed to work in a pharmacy now. And that doesn't mean nothing anyway, because that's just so that way they can take away your license and stop you from working in a pharmacy.
And in some states, if you went to school, you became a pharmacy technician, you may have been a returning citizen, you went to one of the local trade schools, got trained to be a pharmacy technician, you started working in it, and the businessman knowing your background, they said, hey, no problem, it may have been a minor felony offense, whatever, some people no felonies, minor, there's some nonviolent felonies, and the pharmacy said, hey, we'll take a chance with you. A lot of mom and pop pharmacies would do that. They would give returning citizens jobs, and they these people, they watch them like hawks in the beginning. But then when they started licensing,
right,
mom and pop pharmacists who depended on these people lost their staff,
right,
because they can't get licensed because of felony, which may have been something that happened when they were 18. They're now 30 or 40. They had a felony from their 18, 19. Oh, well, you have a felony, so you can't get licensed.
So I mean, that a lot of states are doing expunging. So take a look at your expunging laws too.
And some are automatic.
So you may want to do that too. But that's what the problem was. A lot of them who are going to these trade schools to at least to give something to educate themselves. But if it requires a license, you couldn't even get a license.
No, you
so
couldn't even get a. That's the problem with our society, and I guess we can jump into our general
topic now.
Yeah. So we're gonna skip to number 4 because we'll jump to number 4 here. Open topic.
Yeah, so kind of where we are.
Yeah. So basically, a lot of things happening in our society today is they're holding people back. Mm-hmm. So, like we said, the PBMs are trying to destroy an industry which has tens of thousands of jobs, but people don't understand there's people who work in that industry. So now you want to destroy people's jobs, their livelihood, and people who work in the industry are not paid low income. And so that's another situation. These are people who are paid very well. They are professionals. They're paid well, for the PBMs to the pharmacists to people who work down the line. So now you want to destroy something because you don't understand it. And then the whole thing about returning citizens, licensing, you can't even, in some states, you can't even get a liquor license. You can't get a license and start a business. You can't get no kind of license because of restrictions.
Right, and that's one of the things about license. That's what they want to do. But yet they're supposed to say they're for the people.
That's both parties, by the way. That we ain't talking Democrat or Republican. No, both parties are guilty of that really being for you. That's how come people say, "Well, are you a Democrat or are you a Republican?" I'm an independent. And I have no problem with saying that because I've worked in the political system with both sides, and I've seen things being in media.
You're not going to agree 100% on what each party does.
I don't even agree with some of the stuff Trump did. He shut down a department. I'm like, why would you shut that department down? So look, I'm not a lock stepper. I have no problem saying I'm not a lock stepper.
And we're just talking about how money, right? How monopoly and things like that. And right now, a lot of foreign entities or foreign countries or netizens are talking about how they feel like actors and actresses are getting paid too much.
You're right.
I was like, is this it? Oh, they're the production team and those PAs, the production assistants, they barely get they get minimum wage and low hours, and then one person said the actors and actresses do all this, but for nothing, they don't do nothing. I'm like, wait a minute, what?
Let me step in as somebody who was a PA for World Cup Soccer 1994, 30 years ago exactly. This date, 30 years ago, I was actually working at the Pontiac Silverdome that's now gone as a PA. I was paid pretty well. But I know for a fact that higher ups were probably paid 3 times as much as me. I was just getting a PA is a person who's getting their foot in the door.
Right, you are a PA for hire. You were hired in to do it. But
it's called production assistant. You do what they tell you.
Right.
Go get me coffee. Go get this. Go get that. Go get this. You are basically a paid gopher.
And I was watching, and I'm telling you, I was thinking, I'm like, this is kind of interesting how, And so in China, where it works is that China, because it's a communist system,
CCP,
and so they were able to cap. So they put a cap on their actor and actresses. They can only make so much depending on what level you are. So they put a cap on them. And so this is South Korea. They were talking about, they're making too much. They need to put a cap on them. They shouldn't be making all this money for doing nothing. I'm like, what? Because one thing about South Korea, they focus a lot on product placement, product and brand reputations, and using celebrities for their branding and all that stuff. So they really are really good at that. They were complaining because one person got it was 29,000 USD for for just having their picture on there. But yet when something goes wrong, they're quick to cancel them, and then they want them to pay a fee. That's so that's kind of how they basically try to defund these celebrities. That's what they try and do now with Diddy. We haven't talked about that, but that's what they're trying to do. They were trying to defund Diddy because they're saying that no black man was able to buy BET offered, I don't know how much he offered for BET, that no black man should be having to, that means he had to get his money notorious ways.
No, he got
that's what they were trying to say.
And what gets me about the debate about people who talk about the production of movies, I'm gonna show y'all something. I'm gonna show you a little something up. Now this is not the actual official storyboard for our project, our movie we're bringing back that she wrote 30 years ago. But I will tell you this: I've been working on the storyboarding alone. I think I started with last week, Memorial Day, and the storyboarding can take just to do 5 scenes, and I'm using AI to generate it. However, it can take up to 8 hours just to get the AI to do right. I'm literally fussing at AI. So like last Sunday, it took me 8 hours to get one panel created because it wasn't doing the way I wanted the scene to be drawn. But it is work. And then you got to figure out actors. An actor who does a movie, it's not that they don't come on the set. Some of these actors, let's take for instance Batman. Ben Affleck had to stay in Detroit, I think, for 2 years to film a movie that you saw for 3 hours.
They don't know how they had to, some actors and actresses have to pay for everything themselves.
Right.
Now, granted, you're talking about they're already in China, they're already in South Korea. However, if here in the States, if an actor has to go and film in another state, they have to pay they have to pay taxes for that state. Plus, they have to pay for their own living. Sometimes, depending on who you are.
Affleck moved here for 2 years, so he became a Michigan resident just to cover himself.
Right. So that's kind of what happens too. Is the fact that if you are a top leading actor or actress of your time, then yeah, it's not going to be nothing for you to rent out a mansion or a home, Airbnb at home for $10,000 a month. That's nothing. But you talking about, if you talk about go somewhere.
Yeah, cat. The cat is just wanting some attention. Now
you got an actor for A, B, and C. Lower a D actor or B actor. Then you have to pay for your own expenses. That's what they're talking about when one of the, I can't think her name, when she came over here, did something, Lady Jane, I think, some CW show, and she was from Europe. And so when she had to come over here, she had to pay, they gave her X amount of dollars per episode. Out of that X amount of dollars, she had to pay for everything else herself. She had to pay her living expenses. She had to pay for her for her own stylist. She had to get a stylist. She had to pay for her own wardrobe. She had to go to different events. She had to pay for all that stuff.
And usually, if the actress is getting $100,000 per episode, by the time everybody gets their hand in the pot, she's probably making $1,000 per episode, depending on I'd say 10,000 after everything is done. Now, people say, "Well, y'all don't know what you're talking about." Behind me is a movie that we shot, and we are also filmmakers, so we understand a little bit we know a little something about the film industry.
Right.
And we know
industry and
we know a little bit about that because I can tell you now, for us, when we shot our movie, we had table reads probably for 5 months before we even did principal photography. 5 months.
Talking about, South Korea is interesting when it comes to their entertainment, but I mean, you got to think about it. If you're a K-pop artist, and they only pay you so much. And some K-pop artists aren't even getting paid, but they had to give them free housing and free room and board, but they don't pay for it. But yet they don't get paid. So endorsements is where they get their money from.
That's where
that's how they get their money.
That's how athletes get uber rich. Now you may say, well, he's got a $20 million contract. That's not per year. Usually it's a $20 million contract for 5 or 10, depending on the year. So that you divide that and you get it. Sometimes they're only making $2 million a year. Right. Yeah, it's a $20 million contract, but it's $2 million a year. Again, once the agent get their hand out in the money, your rent, your expenses, that $2 million contract is maybe
I'm quite sure
high 6 figures, but it's still good money. However, the money, there's
insurance on you,
taxes. You also got taxes.
Right.
You got to pay your taxes. You got to pay.
You have to pay taxes each state that you're in. That's with basketball. They have to pay their taxes every state they're in. So that $2 million is not $2 million straight out of your pocket that you can go and buy yourself a $1.5 million home.
Right, $1.5 million home. We know someone who would tell you up front, having a $20 million home, your mortgage, you can't, it's not insured. You can't, there's no Allstate, there's no state. I forgot how much they said their insurance was per month. However, their insurance was more than more than our car.
Or sometimes
A year.
more than somebody gets paid a year.
Yeah.
You know, so you can't you have to realize that everything costs.
Right.
And so, and it's not, that's because nobody ain't paying for that. That's the reason why the record labels, you know, these record labels they're there to make themselves money, not to make you money. So they basically advanced you this money in order to promote yourself. But yes, you had to pay that money
And
back.
artist has to pay for their own concert.
Right.
Even all these, people, these celebrities that you see, they make too much money. They have to pay out of their pocket. So any appearances, that's why they depend on the parents' fees.
So that's the reason they have to develop their own production company in order to put the money there in order to pay for these things.
Right.
Or that's the reason why promoters are promoted, or they go through a promoter to do that too. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like when I hear people, especially netizens, say things, I'm going, okay, you know, as somebody who's working on a movie and trying to get our movie moving forward, who's working on the next script. Again, it's a powerful script. That's not the official thing. However, it's a lot of work even from our perspective. So people say, well, why is the producer getting paid so much? Because we do a lot of the work ahead of time. Before this script even goes to to make a movie, you got to do, if you want somebody to give you some bread, you got to create a pitch deck. You got to do which you can do the full pitch deck, which is a summary of the movie, a 1-page pitch deck. Then if you want to do like me, there's certain visualizations I need. I'm going to go through and do the summary, the breakdown, everything. Then I'm going to do the storyboarding. You can literally spend 4 months just prepping, getting everything lined up. I spent, I think, a total on this movie here over the last 3 years, maybe almost 70 to 80 days total, but it's still growing because I'm getting back into it deeper. Plus she's got some other projects. I really want to hurry up, get this done, get it financed and get this done. But anyway, you can always help to support that by going to GarrisonHousePodcast.com. It'll support our upcoming projects. Maybe we'll throw some shorts together.
Yeah.
Also, you know, we can do a lot more stuff. So we're going to we can do more fun stuff. Like we got, I guess our next one we'll talk about the new, was it pistachio, whatever those things, Beirut. Yeah. We'll talk about those candies. We actually, Dubai, they're actually pretty good. So we got some fun things that
we'll put it together and it'll be on the next the new trend that is on social now is that
candy
that Dubai chocolate or something.
I like it. I think it tastes good.
I said it don't taste. It's not that it don't taste good. It's just I don't see where these
fanfare is.
It reminds me of Ferrero Rocher, but it's using pistachios.
It's good. I like it.
And you like pistachios.
So she does. So what we're gonna probably do is start doing more shorts on our channel because she does cooking stuff. We need to start sharing some of the fun stuff we do here. I mean, I got my own little barbecue sauce I bake. Maybe I'll share some of the sauce, except for giving me all the secret ingredient. It's one of the things I enjoy. I enjoy it. And so we got a lot going on.
Yeah.
And so, but anyway, it's been fun today. I think we had some good discussions today. And I think
why don't you guys just go into our socials and join in the conversation. We really appreciate everybody who tunes in. We really do thank you for subscribing. Subscribe if you're on Facebook, subscribe. Come on Kashmir TV. You can watch us 24 hours on Kashmir TV. Well, not us personally, but watch Kashmir TV.
And on our Roku, I think we show up on our Roku. I gotta check that. Sometimes I try to, when I'm uploading, I try to make sure I click the button so it comes to Roku where you can watch us. So yeah, you can go to our Roku channels. It's B2 TV is for Kashmir. Beacon 333 is for BTV. We are on Kashmir more than BTV, but you will see us we're on BTV as well.
We can still watch Kashmir.
Yeah, watch Kashmir.
Turn it on.
Even though we own both. Anyway, I'm Darnell.
And I am Angela.
And we'd like to thank you for watching Garrison House. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.